Now we will work with a real example. We will take one file, data file. We will move it onto Hadoop distributed file system. So we are in this browser. I'll just minimize it, or I'll just close this browser. Now, how do I move a local file, data file onto Hadoop distributed file system? So we'll start with a smaller data set. Once it works perfectly, then we'll really move a larger data set. Smaller data set will not be cut into pieces. Larger data set, if it is more than 128 MB size, it will be cut into smaller pieces. Then we can verify what are all the pieces, etc. Okay, so first, the data file that we are going to move is data stock price data set. So first you bring the data set into virtual environment. So we don't have the data set here in this virtual environment. So I gave you the data set. For the data set that we are going to work with is stock price data. So you copy this data set into virtual environment. So this is my local file. This is my local file. From here I'll move it onto virtual environment, this particular data set. I'll create one particular folder in virtual environment, name it as data sets. Okay, within the data sets I'll store all my data sets. So within the data sets, so the name need to be exactly data sets. Okay, the code is written in such a way, that's why it has to be data sets. And then I'll move this file from local to my virtual environment. This is my Windows system, right? This is local, and this one is within, it's like a new system or a different system, this virtual box or virtual system. So stock price data, it is there, stock price.txt. So this is the local file here. So stock price.txt, we will move this Linux from Linux file system inside HDFS. From Linux file system, we will move it from here to HDFS, or we'll copy it onto HDFS. How do we do it? So go to terminal. The command is Hadoop fs, so that is Hadoop file system, and then copy from local, so that is again keyword. So copy from local. What is the local file system name? So copy from local. So it is home, HD user, dataset, stock price data. Within datasets there is stock price data, right, that we have. So if you go here within home, dataset, stock price data, so we have to take this path. Okay, the full path is home, HD user, dataset, stock price data, and the dataset file name is stock price.txt. From here we want to move it on to HDFS. The name on HDFS can be anything, test on DFS or anything. It can be HDFS data, or like we are moving it onto HDFS, we can give any name. The local file name is this one. So I copy this code, I paste it here. Once again the explanation, Hadoop fs copy from local is the command. So Hadoop is for Hadoop commands, file system, copy from local is the keyword. This is the local path. So home, HD user, so this is the local file path. If you are storing it anywhere else, you need to mention it. Now on HDFS, how do you want to mention it? On HDFS I want to store it on the name of, let's say on HDFS itself I want to say stock uh, price. On HDFS I want to see it as stock price HDFS. That is what I want to name. You don't need to give any extension. You just say use this command Hadoop fs copy from local. This is the local file path. From here you want to copy it onto HDFS. Why we want to copy it onto HDFS? Because HDFS has some beautiful properties. Then only we can run MapReduce programs after that. So that's why we are copying the local txt file onto HDFS. Press enter. So the process will start. It will take some time. You might get some warnings. Don't worry about them. Done. So on HDFS earlier, do you see the file? So the file name that I gave is stock price underscore HDFS, right? Which should appear in now. So once again, if I see the files like Hadoop fs.ls, which will list down all the files on HDFS, since I moved this new file, that should be there. So that new file should be appearing on HDFS. Can you see stock price HDFS? It is just moved on to HDFS by me right now. Earlier it was not there. In fact, you can go to the browser, the same location, browse file system, you can see stock price dot HDFS. So what is the location? This is the location, that was the location, and stock price underscore HDFS. Okay, this has just one block because the file size is just 37 MB, and the block size is 128 MB. Replication is 3, that means 3 pieces have been stored. You can check that. You can download this particular block of the code, which doesn't really help you. I mean, block of the data, you can download it. Okay, right now it has been moved onto HDFS. It is a slightly smaller file, only 37 MB file. That is just to check, or that is just to test. We have moved it. Now we will move a really serious file or really bigger file. So that is how we move the local files from local directories onto HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system. In fact, you can even remove file from Hadoop distributed file system using RMR command. So if there is any file that is on Hadoop distributed file system, you can say Hadoop fs minus RMR or dash RMR, and then I named it as stock price HDFS. If you are naming it in a different manner, you have to give that file, or whatever file that you want to remove, you have to use RMR. So you do that. So the RMR is also deprecated, which means an old style of coding. That is fine. Deleted this. Once you run again this command, you will see stock price HDFS will not appear anymore on this one, right? That is how you can move local files onto HDFS. We moved a smaller file, now we will move a really big file. Okay, and then we will see how it is divided into blocks. So within HDFS, how it is managed, how many blocks are created, how many replications are created, what is the size of the file, etc. So this is how we move local files onto HDFS.